Hello guys, welcome to First Step Future India. In last class we started seeing about Europeans and the first European who entered India is Portuguese, and we saw Portuguese strength, weakness and the way of trade they made with India and decline, everything we saw about Portuguese. And this class, it is the continuation of next European who entered India. The next European after Portuguese who entered India is Dutch, and after that English, and the last one to invade India is French. But you have to note here, the first European and the last European who left India is Portuguese. So they are the last European to leave India. Okay. Also, all these persons have started company in India in the name of East India Company only. So if we talk about the company who started by Dutch, it is Dutch East India Company. And when we start talking about English, then it is English East India Company, and French, it is French East India Company. So you have to be very specific about mentioning these companies while you're answer writing or while choosing the options. Okay. First, let us see about Dutch. So they also entered for a commercial purpose only. So as a commercial enterprise, they voyaged to East. In 1602, they established Dutch East India Company in India, and it empowered itself to carry war, capture territories, to erect fortress in India. So the fort setup is very important here, because whenever there is a kingdom or a company or anyone who erect fort in particular place, they get the ultimate domination over that territory. So it is very important. And in 1605, the first factory of Dutch have been established in Masulipatam, which is located in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so following this, they had factories in Coromandel Coast, in Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Bengal, Bihar also. So they had very advanced military weapons and organization, yet they captured only small territories. They were not capturing big territories. They started capturing only small territories. Okay, and the principal factories, the places where they have set are Surat in 1616, Bimlipatnam in 1641, Karikal in 1645, Chinsura in 1653, and Baranahar, Kasim Bazar, Balason, Patna, Nahapatnam in 1658, and Cochin in 1663. So important trade material, the trade material which they concentrated mainly is indigo. So indigo is a royal purple blue dye. Usually it grows in Yamuna Valley and central India part. Okay, they also concentrated on textiles. So silk from Bengal, Gujarat and Coromandel was also important trade material of Dutch. And saltpetre, kindly Google about what is saltpetre and comment below, and it is very important one. Okay, so saltpetre from Bihar is also important trade material for them, and opium and rice from Ganga Valley were also very important trade material for Dutch. So Portuguese saw Dutch as a very big threat, okay, whereas Dutch saw English as a big threat. So there was always a war between these Europeans, okay, and always there has been a war between Dutch and English, and there was an Anglo-Dutch rivalry, which is a prolonged warfare in Indonesia, okay. So in 1667, English won Dutch, so they made an agreement. What is the agreement? British, they will concentrate only on India, and Dutch, they will concentrate only on Southeast Asia. So they will not interfere with each other. This was the agreement between them. But Dutch was always having an eagle eye on India. So again, they tried to get into India, but in 1759, Battle of Hooghly, British defeated Dutch totally, and it retained like Dutch can enter India as a only trader, but for acquiring territory or erecting fort, they are not allowed to do it in India. So this is how British handled Dutch. So let's see about English. So three major reasons why English entered India are: first one, Spanish Armada in 1588. So what is Spanish Armada? It is nothing but an army operation by Spanish on British. Spanish military tried to acquire Britain by replacing Queen Elizabeth during that time, but British defeated Spanish totally. So by this time they got a new sense that they can also fight back. Also, they are also supreme power. So it gained motivation and confidence among Britons highly. And the second reason is Francis Drake voyage. Francis Drake is a traveler, he is an explorer. So the knowledge gained by him made British to think out of box. Like they got knowledge about several places where they can plunder for money, and also about India they got very huge impact. And Portuguese high profit trade. So they saw Portuguese, the one who started trading India. After the after dealing with India, Portuguese seems to be very flourished manner. So they are very curious how these Portuguese got very good money from India. So what is India is made of? What wealth India have? So that curiosity made Britons to invade India as soon as possible. So these are the three major reasons they got the new sense of enterprise among Britons. In 1609, when Captain Hawkins traveled to India, his ship was captured by Portuguese. So, for seeking help, he managed to see Jahangir. Okay, so Jahangir also helped him. By this way, the friendly relationship between Jahangir and British started. Okay, this offended Portuguese highly. Okay, and in 1611 British started trade from Masulipatam, and in 1612 they defeated Portuguese with the help of Jahangir. So as a token of friendship, Mughal king Jahangir allowed English to set factory in Surat. Also, it has to be noted that among all Europeans, British started their relationship friendly with India. Their entrance in India itself have started with a friendly manner. So we didn't see Indian kings and Indian people didn't see British as a threat. Other Europeans were seems to be very threat to Indian people and Indian rulers. It has to be noted very highly, and as a token of friendship also they exchanged many things. In 1632, Sultan of Golconda have given golden farman to English East India Company. What is this golden farman? It is a royal honor, which means a tax-free trade. So they allowed British for tax-free trade. In 1639, in Chandragiri, where is it, in Madras, the first fort of British have erected. So the fort name is Fort St. George. Okay, so this is the first fort by British. And in 1662, when there was a marriage between English king and Portugal queen, this Portuguese have gifted Bombay to British. So they exchanged Indian territory among themselves also. Shah Shuja, Subandar of Bengal, who allowed British to trade for entire year by paying just 3,000 rupees. So like this, Indian kings have offered several privileges to British compared to other Europeans. Okay, and British also tried to fortify in Mughal territory, but Mughal army have sacked British from it. Okay, by this time British negotiated with Mughals and got 3 villages for their trade purpose. So what are those villages? Sutanuti, Gobindapur, Kalikata, which is nothing but Kalighat. The second fort have erected at Calcutta by 1700, which is an Eastern Presidency. And in 1715, Farrukhsiyar, he also granted farman for British in Bengal, Gujarat and Hyderabad. By this way, the economic activity of English was very flourishing. Okay. Also, they got dastaks. What is dastaks? Permit for certain goods. Nothing but they no need to pay any taxes on certain goods. So by this way also English East India Company gained very high profit, and company coins have minted. Company minted coins were valuable in Mughal Empire also. During this time, when British got very friendly relationship with any kingdom, whether it is a small kingdom or big kingdom, what they will do is they will ask their one of official British official to stay in administration of that kingdom. So they will ask permission as a friendly administrative information exchange or friendly observation, like that they will make their official to stay in that kingdom. By this way they spied on that kingdom in a friendly manner. They gained many knowledge and informations regarding that kingdom. By this way they had very good strategy and got all weakness and strength of each and every kingdom they occupied one by one, which we will be seeing later in subsequent classes. So the next European we're going to see about is French. So they are the one last to arrive India, and in 1669 they entered India to compete with British. The important fact is other Europeans came India to get plunder the money, to get plunder the wealth and to make a trade very high, but French entered India only to compete with British. Wherever there is English, French will try to go there, or wherever French colony is there, British will try to go there. So there is always a fight between British and French. So only to compete with the English company in India, and mainly this company is fully funded by French king himself. But whereas in English East India Company, it is a capitalistic, or the traders and merchants who started the company. But French East India Company is directly started by French king. Okay, so this allowed to this French East India Company also allowed to set up factories, forts, capture and occupy local territory. They got their own power in here also. And in 1669 French factory at Masolipatnam started, and 1673 township at Chandranahur near Calcutta started, and in 1674 founded Pondicherry. And the Pondicherry occupied by French was through the Treaty of Ryswick. Okay, so this is important. And they also occupied Mahi, Karaikal, Balasore also. And why French reached India? It is because of war of Spanish succession as well as Austrian War of Succession. So here Spain is a separate country, English, that is Britain, is a separate country, and France is a separate country. But there was a war of succession in Spain. So the local Spain rulers, they are in war for succession, and when British took part and take a side of one ruler, French take the side of their opposite ruler. So by this way they interfere in others territory, others issue, also they will fight with each other. So this is how the relationship between British and French was there. Okay, also during the First World War this British and French got together. They started maintaining friendly relationship because the opposite side, their enemy, common enemy, was Germany, the biggest power. So to fight with Germany, British and French have started gaining friendly relationship with each other. Okay, and Austrian War of Succession. So it is marked as the biggest war between French and British, which prolonged for 7 years. That is from 1756 to 63. So it started from Europe, and the continuation spin to India. So at the end of 7th year, the war was prolonged to India. So it started here as a Carnatic war. So totally there were 3 Carnatic wars. And what is Carnatic in the sense? In South India, the eastern coast of South India is called as Carnatic region. So it is called as Carnatic war. So there was totally 3 Carnatic wars. First Carnatic war, second, third. The first was from 1746 to 48. And the second war is from 1749 to 1754, and the third war is from 1758 to 1763. And the first Carnatic war is entirely a continuation of Austrian War of Succession. Okay, and in this war French won, and the French governor Dupleix signed a treaty between British and French, and that treaty is called as Aix-la-Chapelle. Around 700 French army persons defeated around 10,000 Indian soldiers. So the Indian soldiers were provided by Anwaruddin and Nawab of Carnatic to support British, and it was an eye-opener for Europeans. By this war, Europeans started analyzing, or they started understanding the very big negatives of Indians. And the second Carnatic war is a local war actually, but French took one side and English took other side, and the fight between the two, just like in Spanish, as I've told you before. So it is a battle of Ambur. French took the side of Muzaffar Jung and Chanda Sahib, and English took the side of Nasir Jung and Anwaruddin. Here French was the one who was about to get the victory, but what happens is French king himself, their official Dupleix was called back to France, and he was acquired by the kingdom, like saying because of Dupleix like many unwanted war has been waging, and many expenses, many soldiers, they are getting exploited. So he acquiesced for this charge, and the king killed Dupleix. So since Dupleix was not there, the French become minor to British. Also, the territories which was acquired from British in India are given back to British by French. So this is very important significance of second Carnatic war. And the third Carnatic war is from 1758 to 63, and it is nothing but Battle of Vandivash, happened in 1760. Here British defeated French totally. See, British had only one big official, big personality called Dupleix. So when Dupleix was killed by his own king, French become inferior to British. So French totally accepted the British supremacy in India, and the Treaty of Peace of Paris was signed in 1763, which means any Europeans, including French, they can enter India only as a traders, but to occupy or for administrative purpose or occupying territory, they can't enter India. So this was the treaty is all about, and the significance is Indian soldiers, whoever paid by the any army, they being loyal to them. It is showing our negatives to Europeans, which means whatever the army it is, either British or French, when they paid Indian soldiers, these soldiers, they fight with their native rulers or native fellow countrymen. So this was the very negative thing that is observed by British and Europeans. Also, it expressed our Indian rulers' negativity also, which is a lack of sensitivity of geopolitics. These rulers are very keen only about their own goodness, not about people, or they were not broad-minded people. They were very narrow-minded people. So this negatives also exposed to Europeans, especially to British. So why British was successful over all the Europeans, especially French? English East India Company was private and capitalistic in nature, which means the traders and merchants were the one who was administrating the company, and bureaucracy interference is very low in English East India Company. But in case of French East India Company, it is directly started by French king himself. So the bureaucracy interference is very high, and the independence or decision making is very crucial over here. So this is the nature of the company. And naval supremacy. When Portuguese entered India, they were the supreme power in navy. But in British, through industrial revolution and continuous studies, they become very prominent and supreme over navy. So their strategic territories also helped them a lot. Like they occupied very developed provinces, example east and west coast places. So this made them more supreme over all other Europeans. And British only had commercial interest only. So their need from India is very specific, only money. But in case of other Europeans and especially French, they are multi-focused. They concentrated on trade, territory, leadership, as well as in Portuguese and all, they concentrated on religion also. So these type of strategy gained enmity over Indian common people. So but British, since they concentrated only on money, they didn't gain many enmity as like other Europeans. English had many officials with them who are very good leaders, example Sir Eyrecourt, Major Stringer Lawrence, etc. So when one official is vacant, another official will replace them very quickly. So the administration is very active. This East India Company, English East India Company, is controlled by board of directors, an amalgamation of several rival companies, whereas French is monarch and feudalistic, that is 60% of shareholder is the king himself. So the members are elected annually here, but there is no prominent member since king is the major shareholder, and accountability is seen here. Here, since king is the major shareholder, the most of the profits were taken by the kingdom. So for running kingdom, for waging wars, they took most of the money. But whereas in English East India Company, they invested money more and more, gained more and more territories, and their administration was very active compared to French East India Company. And industrial revolution also helped them a lot. Steam engines, printing press, they flourished their economy. So they increased their employment, and more economic activity has been seen, and also it induced a sense of oneness among Britons. From Portuguese, they learned several techniques and they developed themselves to many extent. They outsmarted other Europeans as well as Indian prominent kings also. But Portuguese, they started with a big blast. They had very good strategy. But when time passes, they become pirates. They didn't update themselves, but whereas English, they updated with new tactics and technological developments. Okay, and British had very stable government, king in first place, the crown in first place, and under that parliament, and the parliament had people's representatives. People sided with government and they were harmony in nature. But in case of French, since it is monarch, people rebelled against the king, and there was no proper stable relationship between the king and the people. So that is also another reason. And they concentrated only on commercial purpose. They didn't impose their Christianity over Indians during this time. Okay, so they concentrated only on money. Another big strategy used by British is bond market. So what is bond market? They financed small territories or small kings or major kings with money. So when the kingdom couldn't pay the money back, or they will make deals with the king instead of money. By this way, British started capturing territories in India easily. So this bond market are started by world's first central bank, Bank of England. So by this way, they outsmarted other Europeans also as well as Indian native kings. So this is the story all about English. So friends, study well, share the video, the people who are preparing for competitive exams, Also like the video if you like it and subscribe the channel. Okay, thank you.